I had my mic on mute. That was embarrassing. Sorry. Welcome to Love, Money, Rock and Roll. And if you know, I played a game called Everlasting Summer way back. It was a visual novel, and this is a visual novel as well. And it's made by the same developers. Soviet Games. I think that's the name of the developers. But yeah, I'm just excited because this is made by the same developers as Everlasting Summer, and also this game is not out yet. This is just the demo, and yeah, this is exponentially better than the previous game. Hey Daniel, man, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, I'm just excited to play this game. Okay, let's just play this game. Okay. Yeah, so I had to check if this game is YouTube friendly or not, because the previous game was. I don't know if this one is. I think it is. 3. I don't know how the date format. I'm just gonna guess it's 3rd May 1987. Jeez. Okay. Yeah. So I like this. Working man, you know how it is. Yeah. You're working from home, right? These falling cherry petals. Sorry to interrupt, but I need to increase the volume a bit. It's a bit too low. Sorry. Ignore the background. These falling cherry petals. Does anyone actually find them beautiful? Does anyone really see a deep meaning in their whirling? Perhaps this combination of colors, the purple velvet against the setting sun, does mesmerize. No doubt. Back then, I also watched this leaf fall and thought so. Perhaps too much time has passed. I have forgotten and I have changed. Only the trees are still the same. They don't care. They came into the world before me, and they will yet outlive my descendants. They don't care how beautiful their falling petals are, how fast they fell, or at what angle. It's all the same to them. Sorry. Why would they bother with such minutiae? What's that word? Minutiae? Probably minute detail or something like that. I don't know. To them, this is nothing more than a routine change of the seasons. To me, though, this is a flood of memories. Okay, the tree in front of me now is just like the one on that day. The day when I had to something. What? When I had to do something. Sorry, there's no do that. Okay, the day when it was too late to do anything. It's the same. The same are the petals too, falling with treacherous indifference. They genuinely don't care. They don't care if one day a photographer makes an entire exhibition of their images, or if a pair of sweethearts falls. What? Even more deeply in love. Okay, sorry. Enchanted by their ceaseless dance. That's how nature is. It's not how I am. Random deep bullshit. Same as that day a year earlier. That day the petals were falling off the trees as well. Back then too, nature was lying down, not dying, no, but falling asleep, to wake up again in the spring. The fire of life rekindled. Sitting under this tree, I was remembering all the joy and all the sadness. Do you really love me? Yes. Truly. Yes. She turned away, while the petals kept falling, getting tangled in her hair and making her look even more beautiful. I'm sorry. You know, these cherry petals really suit you. I knew that was coming. Okay. She turned around. She probably didn't feel like it. She probably expected something else. Elegant phrases, wise words, something, but not this. Really? Yes, of course. She smiled. I too must have expected something different. Feelings, confessions, as beautiful as the fluttering petals. But at that time, those words were more important to me than anything else. More important than the tree. More important than the moment. More important than life itself. Because I realized that they were like a petal resting in my hand before it fell to the ground. So near, so fragile, so precious. Precious. Okay, sorry. I like the soundtrack. It is way better than the Everlasting Summer soundtrack. So, is this 12th May? Is it 6th December? I have no clue. Wait, it's not May, 12/6. It's not May, it's June 6. Dude, what am I doing? Sorry, I snapped awake. Oh, animated. It's a good thing. I spotted that. I snapped awake. The fan was humming obnoxiously as ever. Its noise must have woken me up. I was sick of it, of course, but it was a necessary evil. The summer heat was relentless, even with the doors open. It was 3 in the morning, and the silence was sickening. So yeah, it cannot be summer in December, so this has to be June. Okay. Dear God, better to hear the blare of police sirens or the shouting of a drunken neighbor or the screeching of car tires. Anything but this obnoxious fan. I would have turned it off long ago, but then I might have indeed been cooked alive by the heat. If you mean this fan, it's not that huge. I don't think it's doing a huge difference in the temperature, but your fan, your room. Heck, Russian winters had nothing on Japanese summers. What? So, yeah, this looks like a Japanese house. Okay. So I thought he was in Russia. Okay. With effort, I got up and went to the kitchen for some water. What were Russian winters like anyway? Some muffled creaking came from the floorboards under my feet. But the rest of the house, which had 3 bedrooms, a living room, a bathroom, and some pantries, paid no attention to its sole inhabitant. That's a bit of a weird flex, to be honest. Just I understand he's kind of explaining what the house is like and all that shit. He's like, I've got 3 bedrooms, I've got 1 living room, and also a bathroom and some also pantries. I'm rich. Sorry. Ignore me. Dang, it really was 3 a.m. I gulped the water down greedily, spilling half on myself. In the morning, I had to go to school. Had to. Who was compelling me? Maybe I was the one who came up with these stupid duties and responsibilities, straddling myself with the necessity of socializing and waiting for that useless piece of paper, which would attest to be possessing a high school education. I must have invented this world myself. I must have made it up alongside all the other worlds that I fabricated daily for myself, for those I knew, for the whole world. These obligations were nothing but the stupid conventions of that world. By a stroke of bad luck, it was also the world that most people viewed as the real one. I poured really. I poured myself another glass of water and returned to bed. Thank you. The moon shone brightly. Shone? Okay. Animating every speck of dust. In its mournful light, my room looked entirely different, like a portal to another world. Oh, I like these musical notes as background. I don't think you can see them, but there's like musical notes in the background of this text box. It looks really good. A world that was beyond even my imagination. A silver ray lighted on the table, inching towards a heap of papers. Where? School papers, an unfinished novel, letters from my mother, from friends in Russia, and I got up and put a particular scrap of paper into a drawer. Had it been sitting there for a year? Or why should it have bothered me? Then again, why was it on my table? I should have tossed it long ago. I jumped up, took a step towards the table, and came to a halt. How could I? It's not as if I hadn't tried before. More than once. The phone rang loudly. Very loudly. It was 3 in the morning. Who could possibly need to talk to me at this hour? To a dejected high schooler, sunk in contemplation. However, I was used to it. Oh, I like the house. Hello. Hi. You're not asleep? As you can see, I felt an impulse to hang up and disconnect the phone. But even more, I wish that she could now be here, close by. How come? How should I know? Probably because you called me. She mumbled something unintelligible. How are things in general? How should they be in general at 3 in the morning? I don't know. Great. Well, then they're great. I'll stop that. Well, what did you want to hear? I just wanted to call. So you mean it's okay to call at 3 a.m.? I saw the light come on in your kitchen, so I figured you were up. Are you spying on me? No, I was just... The line went silent for a few seconds. She must have been trying to think of something that wouldn't sound too ridiculous. It's just that I couldn't sleep either. Why either? What if I had been sleeping? This guy. But you aren't now. Okay, let's start from the beginning. What did you want? I wanted to know. She paused mid-sentence, as if working up the courage before continuing more confidently. Are you coming to school tomorrow? Suppose I do. Then I'll come by for you in the morning. Now that's just great. It's 3 in the morning and you're going to come by when? In 3 hours? So we won't be late. You know what? I think I'm going to pass on that. Hey, you can't keep missing school. At that rate, you won't be able to graduate. And then you won't be able to find a good job. And then she got entirely tangled up in the predictions of my future. Oh, well, no biggie. No, that's not well. Leave the door unlocked tomorrow in the morning. You have the keys. What does it matter if I lock the door? Oh, right. See you in the morning then. See you. I didn't feel like arguing. It would have done no good anyway. She would come and wake me up regardless. It's what she did almost every day. Why did I give her the keys? Well, that was a while back. It must have been about a year. The cherry petals were probably falling on the day as well. But to hell with them. I thought to set the alarm so I could get up before she came. Not that it mattered much, but it was getting old. What's more, I worried that I might have become too accustomed to it. Seeing that familiar face every morning. Is this the same girl that he just dreamt about? And is that like an actual event? I think that's like an actual event he was dreaming about. That happened about a year ago. With those falling petals and him confessing his love and all that shit. Is this the same girl? Did she just friend zone him and now he's just like trying to ignore her? Kind of mad at her? I don't know, maybe. Dependent even, which was something I definitely could not allow to happen. So she wanted to come in the morning, fine, but she wouldn't be waking me up again. I don't know. Oh, wow. 3 months gap? Oh god. 100 bells were chiming with 100 melodies in my head, announcing the morning. In the medley was the cheerfully chirping of the birds. Okay, the construction. Yeah, thank you. I was supposed to read, but with the alarm going off. The construction on a neighboring street, the boisterous shouts of the street vendors, as well as a damned fan, which could not stop humming for a second, and the grumpy muttering somewhere close by. Oh, the fixed gaze of large green eyes, the pouting lips, and the 2 red braids all informed me that I had slept in. What time is it? The girl picked up the alarm and shoved it in my face. But it's still early, I protested. The early birds gets the worm. She was Himitsu. This was Himitsu, sorry. I seem to have known her my whole life, or at least since my parents and I had moved to Japan. Her mother was Russian, although she divorced Himitsu's father when we were still children. Okay, enough lounging around. Time to get up, wash up, eat breakfast, and go to school. This was how most of my days started. Though after so many years, I had become accustomed to it. Incidentally, I had forgotten to introduce myself. Thank you. Very early. Nikolai, a high school senior. Nikolai, this is a very typical Russian name, but it actually is a cool name, so I'll let that slide. A high school senior. Kun is a Japanese honorific used when addressing male friends or juniors slash subordinates. Oh, so is she my senior, Himitsu, or is she my subordinate? I don't know. Nikko-kun. Himitsu's voice carried throughout the entire house, and it no longer felt so empty and lonely. I quickly got washed and dressed, and then came into the kitchen. God, the house is fucking beautiful. Look at that house. Oh, I would kill for a house like that. Almost all Japanese houses are fucking dope looking. And look outside the door. Fucking blossoms and shit. Okay, the house really was too big for one person. He's living alone? What? In fact, it was probably designed for a multi-generational family. Grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren. Well, typically all Japanese family houses are built for family. That's a weird sentence. Sorry. The empty space seemed oppressive even when my parents were still with me. Now it felt just like a museum or a library. Who in their right mind would want to live here, especially by themselves? Count me in, please. Bon appetit. Same to you. An omelette and several kinds of salads were gracing the table. I picked up a piece of cucumber with my chopsticks and was lazily shifting it around the plate. Not hungry? I am, but I can't live off grass like a rabbit. Himitsu frowned. So, is instant ramen better in your book? Ramen is Japanese fast food, a type of noodles. Oh yeah, I know that. I like this this trivia corner of sorts. Which is true, that not a lot of players are going to play this game are going to be Japanese, so they're not going to be very up to date with Japanese terms. So yeah, I like that. I don't know about better, but it's undoubtedly better tasting. Hey, she puffed out her cheeks comically, which made her look like a cute hamster. I put work into it, you know? KO. I could say nothing to counter that, so I concentrated. What? My Google just popped it, sorry. I could say nothing to counter that, so I concentrated on chewing. What are you planning to do after school today? I don't know. Kyosuke, okay? Kyosuke wanted to go to the movies, I think. Were you going to suggest something? She set aside her chopsticks and looked at me intently, like she was going to say something important. Maybe. She started laughing, trying to hide her embarrassment. Never mind, it's not important. Himitsu was in love with me. What? I had known this for a long time, but did nothing about it. At some point, I had grown so accustomed to it that I no longer knew if she loved me as a brother or as a man. Okay. To be perfectly honest, I didn't care one way or another. If you want to go somewhere, I can reschedule the movie. It can do without me tonight. Her face gleamed with an earnest smile. Well, actually, I wanted to check out this one store near the station. It has just opened. The girls at school won't stop talking about it. Someone else might have considered this a date, but I simply enjoyed spending time with Himitsu. She also seemed content content. Sorry. Kid, hey, what's up? How you doing? Welcome. What's this? This is a visual novel called Love, Money, Rock and Roll, and this is a really good one. At least I think so. Up to this point, it is really good. I played another visual novel called Everlasting Summer from the same developers, and that was just a phenomenal visual novel, and it was free to play. This one is a demo. The full game is still not out, but it will be soon. So I thought I should play the demo and wait for the full game. And the soundtrack is good because, of course, it's rock and roll and all that shit. But the art has improved a lot. If you go and watch the Everlasting Summer, or you can play it for yourself. It's available for free on Steam as well. You can see there's a lot of improvements in this one, so I thought I should just play it. She also seemed content with this arrangement. You haven't finished your breakfast? Nor did I plan to. I might yet have to eat this grass for lunch as well. Why don't you ever make borscht? What? Borscht or dumplings or something. What's borscht? Borscht isn't breakfast, and besides I've made it before. Himitsu took offense. Oh, I want to wait for the full game, 100%. Oh, okay. Oh, this one? Okay. She had made it before, true, just not the same as I remembered from my childhood. I was not about to tell her that. It's one thing not to know how to do something. One can always learn. It's quite another to both know and do, yet fail to meet expectations. Yeah, true. When that is the case, there is a good chance that one will never learn. You're right, sorry. Your borscht is delicious. Borscht. Borscht, yeah, borscht. I repeated. Himitsu was glaring at me. Anyone else in her place would have long since emptied this ball of imaginary borscht onto my head. So, what's this store you were talking about? They sell clothes. She kept piercing me with a stare. Dresses, sweaters, skirts, clothing, women's clothing. Do you think maybe you should go with one of your girlfriends then? I'm not saying no, it just might be a bit awkward. Why? I don't know, it's just the way things are here. And you know how I'm not always great with the local customs. I was telling the truth. Anyone else would have got used to the Japanese way of life, to Japanese traditions and cultural norms, or at least to the ways of the local high schoolers. No one is going to think anything. It's not like we are. Himitsu was now completely flustered, which was making her upset. I couldn't tell if she was more upset with herself or with me. Sometimes, when I talked to Himitsu, and not only her, I would hit a dead end. I no longer knew what was expected of me, while the other person couldn't understand why I didn't get it. In the end, the entire meaning of the conversation would end up buried under an avalanche of misunderstanding, which snowballed with every new remark. At such times, it was better to agree or to remain silent. Alright, it's okay. No one's going to think anything. Why would they? Exactly, said Himitsu triumphantly, and went to wash the dishes. Okay. I kind of like this guy. Wait, Grandma Summer is the Russian equivalent to Indian summer. What? What was this kind of weather? Early in the fall? Called in Russia a Grandma Summer. What? In Japan, at any rate, it was still scorching at the beginning of September. Himitsu was walking alongside me, smiling. I occasionally glanced over at her, trying to figure out what was on her mind. Not that I was particularly interested, more likely I was just trying to distract myself from my own thoughts. The image of the falling cherry petals kept surfacing in my mind, dragging up painful memories. As for Himitsu, she never broached the subject. Was she reluctant to avoid reopening the wound, or was she just showing tact? So Himitsu was the one that Nikolai confessed to the previous year. At least I think so. Um, there's no solid evidence, but I think it is. Hey, Earth to Nikokun, do you copy? Huh, what? I was clearly daydreaming. You're almost here and you're still sleeping. Himitsu scowled. Scold? Scowled? As always, her displeasure looked more comical than intimidating. I'm not sleeping. I'm solving the world's problems in my head. Oh yeah? What sort of problems? She laughed. The political sort. Not even geopolitical. Who else will solve them if not yours truly? Your grades are a little underwhelming for a future politician. That's not important. There've been plenty of great people who didn't get the best grades in school. Take Einstein, for instance. I see. Hamish is smoked. Okay. We would have probably kept chit-chatting like this if it hadn't been for a scuffle happening that moment at the school gate. Several people had surrounded a girl from a distance. We couldn't see who it was. Look, said Himitsu quietly, slowing down. I started listening. This is Nikolai? But she probably wears the same skirt all year. Must be a hand-me-down from her old sister. How does a bum like her even get admitted to our school? It's not a halfway house. Go work at the fish market. Are they bullying this girl or... What? Okay. Careful now, you might catch something from her. It's not like I was going to, with her. Hey, you're on to something? I bet that's how she spends her nights, earning a little side cash. Poor thing. Himitsu paused for a second. Isn't she in your class? I looked more closely. She did look familiar. I think so. Are you saying you don't even know who your classmates are? Of course I do. That's Daka, Hita, Iwamura. I fixed my hair and looked triumphantly at Himitsu. She was not impressed. In fact, she's our class president. Himitsu was still looking at me reproachfully. Well, what? I've never spoken much with her, and anyway, we've only been together in the same class since the start of this school year, so it's only been 6 months. Meanwhile, the scuffle, if one could call it that, was picking up steam. The girl remained stubbornly silent, only dropping her head lower with every minute. This only encouraged the bullies further. Come on, who would pay money for someone like her? Except maybe a couple hundred yen. The speaker made a show of opening his wallet, stuffed with bills, pulling out a handful and waving them in front of Iwamura. That's really getting out of hand, I muttered under my breath. However, the other students walking past pretended not to notice anything. These damned traditions again. This isn't right. Nikokun, don't. Let's just tell a teacher. Himitsu tugged lightly at my sleeve. And what is the teacher going to do? Scold them? My, aren't you ashamed of yourselves? I was starting to get worked up. If I had to think about it, what business of mine was this? A fellow classmate? So what? I hadn't exchanged more than a couple words with her before this day. On the other hand, it was hard to watch one poor girl getting hounded by an entire pack. Alright. As much as I want to intervene, in real life, I would not intervene. It's just simple. If I don't know that person, I wouldn't intervene. Unless it's made very clear that I should intervene. Like I'm the only person there, and there's a robbery going on, there's an assault going on, something like that. Sure, bullying, I don't know. I would not in real life. There's no particular reason. I just don't want to be a part of something, someone else's thing. Just ignore me, I'm not gonna intervene. Rationally thinking, this was none of my business. Yeah, I don't know the full story, wasn't familiar with the background. Sure, 4 people ganging up on one girl isn't cool, but my intervention might have only made matters worse. Probably. Fine, you're probably right. I gritted my teeth, turned away and took several steps towards the school gate. Well, are you coming? Himitsu was still watching the scuffle. Yes, sorry. Still, that's not right. Okay, so I think I need to justify my decision there. Simple thing is, as the other option I had was not to intervene and let an adult take over that situation, right? And it's just simple. Just don't try to be a hero. It's stupid. It does not work in real life. It works in films, it works in series, it works in books, and even video games. It might have worked. I could have just intervened and got the girl talking to me like, oh, thank you for saving, blah blah blah, let's have a coffee. But in real life it does not work like that. Sure, you can go and check on them. If they're being bullied daily, you can take action. But this is literally the first encounter. I don't know if this is daily, if this is just one time thing, like these groups just run around, pick on every single student every single day, something like that. But don't try to be a hero. Like, try to be a good friend. If if they don't have friends, like, maybe if she doesn't have friends, sure, I will go talk to her later on. but don't ever in real life, don't ever try to be a hero. Just let the adults handle the situation, all right? Unless you're familiar with that person, all right? It's not being hero, then it's playing your role. That's why I didn't want to intervene there. If that was Himitsu, sure, I would have intervened. I sat near the shoe cubbies, watching other students pass by. We should tell the teachers. And what are they going to do? Well, what? I couldn't shake off one thought. The impression that I had done the wrong thing. What if it were you in her place, and if everyone just kept walking past, eyes lowered? Himitsu looked embarrassed. But I have you. What if I weren't close by at that moment? I ignored her and continued my fiery diatribe. Let's say I got sick, or I slept in, or I don't know, what if I... At that moment, Iwamura appeared from around the corner. Himitsu looked at me quizzically, but turning, she also froze in surprise. Iwamura rapidly changed out of her shoes and walked past me, paying no attention to anyone or anything. See, I told you everything was going to be alright. I didn't recall her saying that. That's what you call alright. I muttered under my breath. I'll see you at lunch. Yeah, okay. I answered absent-mindedly, still caught up in thought before heading off to class. See, this is just like Everlasting Summer. This game's choices are gonna be consequential. Is that a word? So the decisions I make, they're gonna come bite me in my ass later on, even if I make the good ones or the bad ones, because there's no good or bad in the previous decision. Of course, it's good to protect someone from being bullied, and it's also good to not do it for the wrong reasons, right? So in movies, you see these guys swoop in and help people with intention of being noticed as a hero, right? But here, other than being a hero, I didn't see any intention of me intervening in that part. So I think this is gonna be a relationship dilemma with that Iwamura girl in later on, I guess. I don't know, I'm just guessing. Maybe this will shape our relationship later on, if it does happen a bit differently than it would have if I would have intervened. Anyway, I'm just waffling. Let's go into the classroom. It looks fucking dope. I don't know why every single Japanese classroom looks the same. It looks the same. I don't see a lot of difference. Is in real life, is it the same? Because in most of the animes, it just looks like this. It literally looks like this. Anyway, another routine school day had now begun. I couldn't remember the Russian school at all, even though I attended it for the entire 6 months. But for some reason, it seemed to me that schools were more or less the same everywhere in the world, as were people. Really, how many ways could there be to get stuff into a kid's noggin? If Macaroni and Popov could, independently of each other, invent the radio, why couldn't identical best practices emerge in education at the opposite ends of the earth? A shout from the teacher snapped me out of these thoughts. Whatever school was like in Russia, the school here was pretty strict. There was a reason, after all, why this was one of the best schools in the country. My class consisted mainly of the children of the rich and famous, businessmen, politicians, showbiz stars. Sometimes I felt out of place here. But then, even among this elite, some people were almost ordinary. One such person, Kyosuke, came up to me during the break. Oh, it looks cute. I had known Kyosuke since middle school. He came across as a down-to-earth guy with none of the attitudes of the local privileged youth. Hey Nick, did you hear what happened this morning? I looked around the classroom and spotted one of the girls that had been harassing Iwamura. She gave me a mean look but then quickly went back to what she had been doing. Whatever. No, what happened? I asked, even though I knew perfectly well what Kyosuke was referring to. This morning at the school gate, Kyosuke lowered his voice. There was a brawl. Some word they chose. Couldn't they have thought of a better one? Oh, what happened? My conscience was still eating me up for not intervening. Several guys from the B class were apparently harassing a girl. I don't know who exactly. No, I didn't see anything. They make trouble for everyone. How's that a brawl? I thought someone came in to save Iwamura. Okay. Yeah, not the nicest of people. I hope they didn't bother any of ours. And what do you care? If I ask you to list 5 names, last names of the students in our class, I bet you'd get stuck after just 2. As if I know your last name. And whose else? Kyosuke grinned. Who else? I know Michael's. Michael did not look up from his book, seemingly unaware that his name had been mentioned. And besides that, he crossed his arms over his chest, straightened out, and looked down at me triumphantly. And I know, Iwamura's name kept popping into my head. But if I named her now, wouldn't Kyosuke think I had witnessed the scene at the gate this morning and lied to him? No, come on. Now I was just being paranoid. Hey, what's up? A rescue came from an unexpected source. A classmate had suddenly materialized near my desk. And I also know his last name. Kyosuke was surely going to finish me off by asking for the actual name, but at that moment the bell rang. My friend mumbled something that sounded like a cross between "this time you win" and "damn you" and sat down reluctantly at his desk. He didn't need to know that the girl was Iwamura. She had it pretty rough as it was. Oh, yeah, smart move. Actually, smart move. The next lesson was contemporary Japanese. What's that? I had lived in Japan for 10 years and spoke the language fluently, of course, but writing still gave me grief at times. It gives me as well, writing any local language over here. I just can't do it that well. When the break started, I rushed out of the classroom to avoid further conversations about the morning incident. Kyosuke could be somewhat pushy and persistent, but he did not entirely lack tact, so I was probably being overly cautious. Yeah, probably. English was next. It came much more easily to me. I spent the better part of the lesson gazing out of the sports ground, where a soccer match was taking place. Call it football, please. Please call it football. It is football. Hey Hypnos, what's up? Please just don't call it soccer, it's football. You play the ball with your foot, it's called football. Stop calling it soccer, it's football. Soon my thoughts took me far from school to the day when the cherry petals were falling. Fall was here, and that meant that the trees would soon be shedding their foliage again. The color palette might be different this time, but would my feelings remain the same? A couple more weeks, a month at most, and I would know. The bell recalled me to reality, and my stomach started grumbling noisily. Have you not eaten breakfast today? Let's make a cafeteria run. You're always ready to chow down. Well, there's whole body, there's whole mind. Okay? A whole lot of body, more like it. I was, however, starving, and I didn't want to wait till lunch. Okay, let's go. The memory of Himitsu's healthy, balanced breakfast was still fresh in my mind. I wanted to eat something unhealthy but delicious. Sadly, food poisoning was not on the menu. The cafeteria, like everything else at the school, was first rate. I couldn't tell you if the food here was on par with the fare served at the world's top restaurants, as I hadn't eaten there, but on the whole, I had no complaints. Besides, the menu had many European options. No borscht wasn't among them. Of course, yeah, borscht. Borscht. Oh, is it borscht? I think I know what borscht is. I think it's a canned. No, wait, that's parshta or something else. I don't know. Sorry, it's a meat. It's a form of meat. That's all I know. We entered the cafeteria. Kyosuke was babbling on about some new magical girl anime. I wouldn't have called myself a huge anime fan, but I watch them sometimes too. Though on the scale of enthusiasm, I was as far from Kyosuke as Tokyo was far from Moscow. The title sounds like a name of a Netflix original. Oh yeah, it actually does. Love, Money, Rock and Roll. Yeah, it does actually sound like a Netflix original series. Oh. Suddenly, bam! Something had jabbed me in the side. Not too hard, but enough to be felt. On top of that, I was now covered in liquid. Did someone spill something? Are those kids back to bully me? Oh. Okay, a girl holding a tray popped up from behind. I was dripping with orange juice. It doesn't look orange, it's like mango juice or something. While she gazed in bewilderment on the result of her actions. Hey, careful! I was more frustrated than angry. She did not react in any way. Instead, she just kept looking at me in surprise. Finally, she seemed to recover. From what? Shock? It's you who should watch where you go. What? I was so taken aback, I smiled like an idiot and even retreated a step. Meanwhile, the girl scowled and glared at me. I said, watch where you go instead of sleepwalking. You were actually the one who bumped into me. And why would I bump into you? I was lost for an answer. The girl was talking nonsense, but she was doing it so confidently that I couldn't help but question my own judgment. And why would I? How should I know? You're the one who bumped into me. Alright, you have convinced me. I won't do it again. I snapped back and was prepared to leave. Wait, she said quietly. You're, well, all wet. Sorry. I looked myself over, not the prettiest of pictures to be sure. And what do you suggest? A joint trip to the shore? Me? I was not. How could you even think such? The surprise and confusion on her face gave place to anger. There was an insulted and humiliated victim, and I the culprit. Naturally, yep. Okay, just forget it. Everything's fine. Wait. God, can you stop bothering me? Is this something like Doki Doki Literature Club? It is, but it is not horror. It is more like a thriller. It is like psycho thriller. I don't know. It kind of gets fucked up a bit later. It's more crime related than it is horror related. But yeah, it's something like Doki Doki Literature Club. Her tone kept changing faster than the weather in the tropics. Here, take this. What, orange juice? She handed me a handkerchief. Really, Chief? I accepted it without an argument and was about to thank her. However, she snorted, turned on her heels, and left to join her girlfriends at the far end of the cafeteria. What a strange girl. Yeah. Nick, you started Kyosuke when I sat down at our table. He was flaring his nostrils and gasping like a fish out of water. Do you know who that was? No, who? That was Eli-sama. Sama is a Japanese honorific used when addressing someone with the most possible respect and reverence. Approximate analog in the English would be sir slash madam. Ah, Ellie Sama. Peter Sama, sorry. I like those honorific terms that Japanese people give, like something like Kyosuke Sama, Kyosuke San, San Kyosuke, and it just sounds so good, to be honest, while speaking and also while reading as well. But I just like it. That's just it. He looked probingly at me as though expecting me to exclaim, "Oh, Ellie Sama, that very one?" "Sama who?" I inquired coolly. How could he not know? And you want people to believe you're a student here? I don't want that. It's what the papers say. If only you paid more attention to what goes on around you. Alright, enough suspense already, just tell me. He was clearly chomping at the bit. Kasuke repositioned himself more comfortably on his chair, assumed a serious look, and began. Elisama, she's like the school queen. She has perfect grades. She's great at sports. She won awards at the national, no, not even international level. Okay? Not that interplanetary. Not the interplanetary. What a relief. Anyone would consider it an honor to be acquainted with her. To have her spill a drink on you. Is that what you meant? Kyosuke ignored me and carried on. I would give up my entire manga collection to have her start up a conversation with me. This is where Sims are born. Your entire collection. Okay, half. I squinted. Fine, a third. Alright, I get it. I should expect the police to show up at my door now and await a sentence. Death by critical glares. Oh, that's a good song name. Death by critical glares. I'm gonna write it down. I need to write a song on death by critical glares. Except, hold on a second. I am entirely innocent. You don't get it at all. Kyosuke sighed. Then again, maybe you should expect the police. After all, her grandfather is the chairman of the school's board of directors. And what am I supposed to do now? Keep apologizing to her? She was the one who bumped into me and spilled a drink all over me. He sighed again and returned to eating. You wouldn't get it. I turned slowly and looked in the direction of the school queen. Judging by the lively conversation and laughter coming from her table, Elisama had already forgotten about the incident and my lowly self. Oh, fuck that bitch. Sorry. The juice dried pretty quickly, leaving behind noticeable yellow stains on the white shirt. I didn't really care about my appearance, but the school had its standards, which didn't take kindly to such sloppiness. How is that your sloppiness, huh? So I had to change into a jersey and a track jacket. Okay. After another uneventful lesson, it was time for the long break. And that meant it was time for lunch. Had I agreed to meet Himitsu for lunch? I couldn't remember. I could just go for a stroll around the school, seeing that I'd only eaten an hour earlier. Go for a stroll? Is this the same thing with Everlasting Summer, where the different choices will make your relationship with different girls better? I don't know what I'm saying. Basically, you can choose to be with one girl and just stick to that one girl and have that girl's ending, because just like Everlasting Summer, I'm hoping, because there are like what, 4 girls in this game, and I think there's gonna be 4 endings to it, or maybe this is just the demo. I might assume that there might be more girls in the full game. I don't know, maybe, but the point being that these decisions they shape the ending, basically. and I would anytime choose to have lunch with Himitsu, my childhood best friend, then just go for a stroll and then have an encounter with that school queen. So yeah, I'm just gonna join Himitsu for lunch. Maybe we did agree, and I had simply forgotten. I don't think we did agree, but I'm just gonna go anyway. I had no desire to listen to Kyosuke's chatter, nor to chew the stale rolls from the snack bar. Well, you do what you like, but I have an arrangement with Himitsu. Okay, okay. He drew out the words cryptically. Oh, even a better classroom. All the classrooms in our school look the same to me, yeah. All the classrooms in Japanese schools look the same, basically. Not just because they were in fact identical, but also because I didn't know a single person in them. Well, yeah, that also works. But others knew me, so no one was surprised when a senior walked into a junior's classroom. Oh, Himitsu is a junior, okay. Hey, I seem to remember that we planned to meet for lunch. Just in case. We didn't exactly. Himitsu seemed slightly caught off guard initially, but she quickly continued with a smile. But I guess we did, shall we? Okay. We walked outside and sat down on a schoolyard bench. Himitsu, wait, bento? Bento is the Japanese term for a single portion packaged meals, usually homemade lunch. Single portion. Or do you mean like just one compartment? Like there are different boxes with multiple compartments. Wait, I need to know if my voice is too loud, okay? Single portion. No, it's not too loud. Sorry. Okay, so Himitsu got out 2 bento boxes and said with a straight face, "Choose." But they're the same. No, they aren't. See, one is wrapped in blue and the other in red. I was sure that the difference ended here. Alright then, give me the blue one. Himitsu made me lunch every day, although for whatever reason she was too timid to admit it. She just always happened to have an extra bento on her, as if by accident. The way one ended up with an extra show ticket for a girl one liked. Here. Not really though. She often told me in advance that she was bringing a bento, but at times like this she still surprised me. So let's see what we've got here today. I unwrapped the box and opened it. Rice, tomatoes, tamagoyaki, and oh my, what have we here? Tamagoyaki is a Japanese omelette. Usually it is rolled into a roll and cut into pieces. Oh, I love tamagoyaki. I would love to try it actually. I haven't tried it before. I actually do want to try Japanese food. I haven't had any sort of Japanese food at all. A meat patty. Wow. And of course the mandatory grass. The whole thing was adorned with salad leaves. What's the occasion? I picked up the patty with my chopsticks and held it to my face as if trying to ascertain its authenticity. Well, you didn't like the breakfast. No, but wait a second, didn't you prepare this before the breakfast? Of course not. She laughed. I just decided to switch things up a bit. I really shouldn't have been complaining about her cooking. Dude, if I live alone and there's a girl, like my childhood friend, who makes me breakfast, lunch, alright? She's not embarrassed of me. She's a junior. Fuck it, what else do I want? I don't need a girlfriend. I don't need Iwamura or whatever the other girl is. I don't need to talk to that stupid school queen. That's all I need. This is literally all I need. That's it, I'm done here. Peace. Oh. What did I do? I just hit something. I don't know what I hit. Okay. Yeah, I really shouldn't have been complaining. Yeah, you shouldn't. You're a fucking asshole for complaining about a... Well, that also kind of plays with the point that a lot of people complain when their mother cooks. When their mothers cook something, so... Yeah, well, yeah, okay, fine. I'm just being a simp. Especially considering that she did it all free of charge. selflessly, no strings attached, and without expecting anything in return, not even a thank you. My conscience was like a lump in my throat, preventing me from taking a bite, so I said, "Thank you, it's perfect, and I'm sorry about this morning." I was going to come up with a reasonable excuse even if I tried, so better to just apologize and leave it there. "It's okay, I'm used to it." Mitsu laughed again, but now I felt even worse. I put my head down and concentrated on eating. "I still feel bad for that girl," she sighed. "Huh? What girl?" Mitsu looked at me gravely. "This morning at the gate." "Oh, right." Preoccupied with my meal, I had temporarily drifted off. "Have you talked to her since?" "No, I didn't really have anything to talk about." I noticed the reproach in Himitsu's eyes and picked up. "No, really, what was I supposed to do? Walk up to her and say, 'I'm sorry I didn't help you'? What is done is cannot be undone?" "You're probably right." Himitsu grew visibly sad. "Please don't start. You said that we shouldn't get involved." The last thing I needed was for Himitsu to start blaming me now. I knew that I had acted poorly. I know, but on the other hand, I feel for her. It's tough holding things in for so long. But what else can we do? Yes, it's an unpleasant situation, no question, but what now? Start breaking their faces? "Nico-kun, you're made of stone." "Stone? Have you tried the rolls from the snack bar? They're made of stone. Or how about the bread from my kitchen cupboard? It's so hard not even the mice would touch it." "Me? I'm not made of stone, I'm just a realist." The way this came out, it sounded almost like some political speech. Nikolai is talking about a Soviet Communist Party's plenum. Oh, okay. Oh, nice referencing material, alright. However, Himitsu did not share my enthusiasm. I just think it would have been the right thing to do. For some reason, Himitsu now reminded me of a Soviet pioneer scout. The comparison made me burst out with laughter. I choked and the rice went flying everywhere. Now look what you've done. She took out a handkerchief and wiped off the grains of rice stuck to my face. Wait, stop, what are people going to think? I was generally much more relaxed about this kind of thing than the Japanese. But such public dotting was perhaps crossing the line. I wondered why it didn't embarrass her. What should they think? Mitsu seemed genuinely perplexed. Nothing at all. I looked around exaggeratedly to indicate that we were not alone. "Don't worry about it." She smiled and started packing away the now empty boxes. Sometimes I just didn't get her. Alright, back into the classroom. I got back to the classroom just a couple minutes before the bell. Okay. Kosuke was sitting at my desk talking to another classmate. And that's gonna leave this one over here. It's been about an hour. And I'm gonna keep this short because the demo is already short. I think it is about 4 hours, which is not short at all. To some people, but compared to Everlasting Summer, that entire game was like, sorry, I'm just speaking loudly. The entire game, Everlasting Summer, was a bit not too long, but it was very long. It was like about 8 to 9 hours long, the entire game. And considering that this game is not free, it's paid, it's a paid game, and it's been in development for quite some time. This game is going to be huge, like beyond 10 hours at least. And so 4 hours makes sense for the demo. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep it like 4 to 5 episodes, I guess, 1 hour each episode. So yeah, thank you for watching. I really love this visual novel. I love visual novels in general, but some of them are very cliche, very badly written. The characters just filthy and perverts, and it's just becomes a non-fun, wholesome, non-wholesome visual novel. I don't know, but this one and even the Everlasting Summer one, it was really good. It was really good visual novel. Everlasting Summer was probably my favorite visual novel, and this is probably about to be my favorite if I like it enough. But yeah, because of course these people know what they're doing. They write their stuff really good. The writing is great. The character animations is now improved than from the previous ones. This is live animation. The previous one just had few frames, but this one is really good. I really like it. And also, thank you for 90 subscribers. First time hitting the 90 subscribers mark, which of course I wouldn't thank you in if it wasn't my first time. But I'm like 10 subscribers close from getting to 100 subscribers, which means a lot. It actually genuinely means a lot. I'm not doing this for subscribers. A lot of people might already know that, but it just means something that a lot of people who subscribe are actually there to watch. Like Kit or Funtime Fox, yes, I used to know him by. He just showed up one day, subscribed to my channel, and just showed up every single day after that. So it's good to see him, and good to see Daniel, man. Daniel, my good buddy. Nice, nice music skills you got there. You have to teach me how to play a guitar, by the way. Anyway, I'm just rambling. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. I hope you had fun. I did. And I will see you next time. Bye bye. Maybe there's gonna be music. Can I save? I can save. I did save. Okay, I did save. Main menu. Oh, no music. Oh, it's just dead silence. Wasn't expecting that, but fine, I guess. How do I just stop streaming?